Greetings. When we last left, Sister Light had just barely won a fight with one of the Walking Dead of Deck 3. And now she is, I wouldn't say she's almost dead, but she's down to 2 health, 2 spirit. Her vac suit is broken, the headlamp is gone, the radio is gone, and time is ticking down before the Wolf Clan arrives to capture her. I assume. um, but Sister still has to make it to the med bay. And welcome to episode 5, The Walking Wounded. So, Sister is in rough shape. I imagine her on sort of her hands and knees with the I imagine that these vac suits have almost magnetic or electrostatic kind of pads on the hands, potentially on the knees, on the soles of the foot, to allow someone to kneel down and work or walk, or climb more easily. Fortunately, that's all still working. And so the sister, I imagine she just lifts herself up after the fight with the legless Walking Dead. And she lifts herself up on her hands and knees. You can probably feel just a tiny bit of blood from maybe a small cut back of her head as the thing, slammed. She slammed into the door, and the thing slammed her head. She calls to Ilveni. Ilveni, how much time do I have? Ilveni, right? But she obviously can't hail him because her radio's gone. And it's dark. She has some flickering emergency light still. And she takes one brief moment, I think, to catch her breath there. But then she has to make a decision. She could go back. If you remember in the access tunnel, there was, I think, a light. I don't know, it might not have batteries, but the sister does have a battery pack that she might be able to use. Or she could head forward, hoping that the emergency lighting continues. Oh, man, I'm sure there would be emergency lighting in the med bay generally. I would give it a decent chance, probably. But my guess is to head back and then get the light set up and so on so that she has a light is going to take her one of her precious countdown timers here before the Wolf Clan arrives. So she mutters a little meditation real quick to sort of gather herself. Gets up, collects the blaster, the magnetic grapple gun, hooks that back, grabs the cutlass, sees this thing just sort of thrashing about noiselessly in the vacuum. Just, it is like probably frothing a bit at the mouth. Like it obviously wants to get to her, but can't. There's nothing within its reach. And I think she just walks up to it, to obviously out of its reach. I think she's going to end it. I think she will shoot it with the blaster. I think after that fight, with how bad it was, Sister is very concerned about leaving any of these things behind her. So I think she's just going to end that thing's misery. And move on. And move forward. So down to 2 health, 2 spirit, headlamp, radios, backseat are broken. Sister ends the unlife of the floating, thrashing corpse and moves forward, relying on the emergency lighting. That might be a hideous mistake. I hope it isn't. But she's going to head forward. I'm going to give her one more mark for clearing the power pump station because she is technically closer to her goal, closer to the med bay. And let's see if let's see what the expedition holds now. Let's make a move. And we are still undertaking an expedition. I think we are still going to try to move at speed this time. She looks around. She's trying to find another access tunnel or another hallway. And she's going to move at speed. That's going to use edge. And remember, we had indicated last time that if she moved with wits, that would be great. She could be more vigilant. She could use her better stat, but it would take one of her time segments up. And in this case, I think she wants to save one because she's going to have, I mean, once she gets to the medical bay, that's not the end. She does need to do some work there, find the data, interpret the data, right, whatever. She might have to fix a terminal, jury rig some power. Like, that's going to take a time slot. So she needs to move. So we are going to roll. It's going to be edge. And unfortunately, she doesn't get any bonus to this. So let's roll and hope that we don't get a miss. We get a weak hit instead. A weak hit, but this progress costs you. Make a suffer move or 2 -1 suffer moves. Or face a peril. I mean, you sort of have, right? Face. So we're going to say that there's another access tunnel. So we're going to say that there's another access tunnel and that this is going to get her pretty much where she needs to go in terms of, so she's going to bypass the research, this research facility, which was actually, I was calling it, that was where they were storing the bodies originally. But she does have to face some peril or take 2 suffer moves. I mean, that's an interesting choice right now. that's um that's an interesting choice because I could go 1-1, stress her out, and take her health, and just go, okay, she's down to 1 each, right? And she gets there exhausted, a little bit of blood loss, gets there exhausted. Or we could do peril. So I hate to say this. I hate to do this because it's gonna suck. I think it would be better. So what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna put her. So she goes through another access tunnel, and she finds her way to the medical bay where she was her final destination. I am going to mark a progress on her Val. So she's up to 6. And we are going to, where is the progress tracker here? We're gonna mark she gets to the med bay. And frankly, indeed, I'm gonna. Well, how about this? We're gonna. We'll get her there. I won't mark the progress yet. Let's conclude at least. Let's conclude. And I sort of don't really care what happens on this one. I feel a little bit. Like when we finish an expedition, does something happen? You reach your destination or complete your surveys, and you mark a whatchamacall. Well, we already know she's going to get. So I'm going to. I'm going to. I'm going to hit conclude. Because I'm going to put her here, and I'm going to say that that last roll indicates that there's peril in the med bay. So we will. I'm going to. And if we miss, then it's going to be a mess. But if we don't miss, we're going to get there with some peril at the end. So we're going to finish the expedition at an 8. Wait, we had 0 progress? Hold on. That's not okay. We have to hit this one. Conclude. 8. So we do get to mark. So this was dangerous. Troublesome 1 took dangerous 2 ticks. So we do mark our Discovery's legacy track. So that gives us 3 ticks. Okay, done. So we got something going on. We marked progress on, and so yeah, so we are. I want to keep this up because I want this countdown track to still exist. So she arrives at the med bay. There's emergency lighting, of course. Just red, just dim enough. Maybe 1 or 2 remaining fluorescents that are zipping, sizzling, flickering. She can't hear him sizzle. Remember, she has 6 progress toward her vow. We can see if maybe we can try to fulfill that vow. But so what's this medical facility look like? Let's use we'll use the oracles, since I think the oracles for like all the settlements and stuff are actually pretty fun. Like the derelicts, they've been pretty fun. So I'm going to put my book over here, and I'm gonna pull up the book for y'all so that you can also see it, and then we can have a discussion about what she might find here. I wonder if the reference guide is there a reference guide with all the oracles? Yeah, there's some oracles. Yeah, okay. That's cool. This reference guide might be all I need for the game here. We're not at a vault. We are well not. All right. So derelict medical. Now I think this was a ward or a clinic, but it could be a lab, could be offices. And I'm gonna roll. Did we close? Oh, Starforged. It's right here. Okay. I don't like, yeah, yeah, there we go. So I think this is a ward or a clinic. So that's easy enough. Done. Right? So this is where they were keeping um This is where they were keeping the adept alive and for the first X months of his coma. And this is where they were sort of recording his mutterings and where the science people were trying to figure it out. Let's roll on a feature. So we get a D100 up, 82 on the feature. Stacks of body bags. Well, I think we know what the peril is. Uh, I mean, do we have to? Do we have to? Obviously, we have to. Um, so, okay, let's write that down. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to jot my notes. So, this is an infirmary, right? Um, let's picture rows of beds. Let's picture rows of beds, mostly open. There's curtains in between, but there's not a lot of walls or privacy. It's mostly an open space. There is a little bit of white flickering light, but most of the light is the dim red emergency light that you have through the most of the station. Place it in disarray, of course. Um, Now, Sister sort of glances like it looks obviously that it's been quickly evacuated at one time. Um, and of course, with the no gravity, stuff has moved. So there maybe an IV is going around, or maybe a hypodermic needle is sort of floating. A little dangerous. There's probably a lot of like just sharps and random and scalpels and stuff. Just like that doesn't seem safe to me. Um, and it it doesn't necessarily strike her that they would have kept such an important individual and such a secret kind of thing in the midst of everybody. So she is looking for private rooms or bays that, right, little side rooms that would be closed off. And she sees some. She sees some of them. So we'll say at the other end of this big infirmary, there are four, two on each side, sort of with maybe like a sliding door or something, privacy rooms, and they have curtains and doors, and so she figures she needs to check those. So that's what she's going to do. She's going to check those. And opens the first one, right? Pulls it open. Nothing. It just um maybe some dust shakes from the or some little metal bits or paint flecks just shake but then sit and hang in the air. Bed, the normal medical equipment, the machine that goes bing and the very expensive machine are there. They're all dead. She opens a second one and sees and gets a bit of a shock, right? Because she sees the bags, the body bags. And it says stacks of body bags. So that really doesn't seem like a good stacks. It's stacks of them for crying out loud. We don't. It's not two. It's not two. It's I don't know what's stacks. It's the 3d6, 10 body bags. So there's literally a pile of 4 on 3 on 2 on 1, right? There's stacks of body bags. Medbay is an infirmary. Rooms off to the side. There are 4. Ten body bags. And I think she is taken aback by that. Obviously, she would have to know that somewhere, somehow, they would be collecting dead. She already knew that they had stored the dead in the morgue. Um, but she didn't realize, and maybe indeed the morgue is just right there. Um, right? Maybe the morgue is just through there. Maybe she can even see through the window the shuffling of some of these walking corpses. But she did not expect to see bags here. And so she sort of startles. And I mean, I have to say that obviously these bags are going to start to move. They start to wiggle. They kick at each other. They start to move through as one kicks off. It lifts from the pile, and the ones on the bottom are pushing and trying to rip open, or they're probably zipped in some, and they're trying to rip at they don't. I mean, they're so. He closes that door, slams that door shut. Um, and she is really on a little bit of a timer now. Like that is so third room, obviously 50-50, and it is. So she goes to the right, she goes to the caddy corner room of that one. And this one is set up, this room with research equipment, maybe recording device, a computer terminal. This is it. She gets into the room. Um, she gets into the room, slams her door shut, makes sure the curtains are drawn, right? The privacy curtains are drawn. And then starts to search the room. Sister closes the door, closes the curtains, starts to search. Good question. What the hell? Okay, so we're trying to search. So we need a move. We need a move for trying to search. This feels gather information, right? She's searching for clues. She's asking questions. She is doing research. Does she have any assets that help with? I almost even am going to give her scavenger on this. Like this is sort of what she does. This is up her alley. So I think When you gather information, resupply by scavenging a wreck, ruin, or abandoned site. Add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. On a strong hit with a match, you also find something of unique value, blah, 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 right? And that's cool. So let's see where we can go here. So she's obviously searching. She's going to obviously search just the room first and look for anything that they've stored recordings on, that kind of thing. Like she's looking for that. I mean, is that going to potentially be quicker? Or I mean, we'll gather information and then we'll figure out what that sort of means after the fact. So she does get a +1 with this. We're gonna roll on her witch. She gets a +1. Submit. She freaking misses it. Okay. I don't think she can do anything about that, frankly. Your investigation unearths a dire threat or unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. I mean, I don't know what that means exactly. Does it mean nothing's here? Because then we're done. You know what? I'm leaving. Yep. Sorry. Bye bye. See you guys. Um, let's forsake our vow. The envision the impact of the failure appropriate to the nature of the vow. Gather information. She misses. So we got to think about that a little bit. So obviously we're taking the miss, but I don't have any, terrible implications or anything that's going to undermine her quest just as of yet. I do want to pay the price. So we're going to roll on this oracle to pay the price. I think a lot of it has to do with just time and 77. You are harmed. Okay. I mean, that's going to take us down to 1 health, so that's going to suck a little bit. So here's what I think is going to happen. So she doesn't find anything in the room. She can feel thumping. So that means something pretty strong is smashing stuff right nearby. And I think she realizes that the corpses are either loose or getting loose, and she has very, very limited time. So she's like, well, I've got to power up this computer terminal and see what I can do. So she's going to take the battery pack, takes the battery pack, plunks it on the desk next to it, opens up the power, the machine, and she's going to try to essentially jumpstart it, give it power with this terminal. She will shock herself with the capacitor. She has to open the power supply, and as she rushes, and so I think that's going to be the damage. But like they're getting on her. They're getting to it here. They're getting to it. So, and I know maybe it's a little crappy, but um do think she's going to try again. I suppose my one problem that I do have is with deciding on these moves is they're all really just about the same. Like securing an advantage is not easier than gathering information. Is not easier than the only thing that matters is the wit make a wit check versus make a edge check versus make a right. And so there's no way to build up um there's no way mechanically to build up to a thing without just doing the thing. You might as well just do the thing. Like if I'm going to roll wits, I might as well just damn roll wits because getting +2 momentum doesn't help her, and failing is as bad as failing the gather information. So I don't know sometimes how to pick these moves. Like so, I'm even maybe even the last time she was trying to secure an advantage. I mean, that was how what that was instead of gather information. I don't know. Nonetheless, we're just gonna make another check here with that. I mean, I know that that probably goes against a little bit against Starforged credo, right? We're supposed to fail forward, kind of thing. Um, I just think it gets more dire. I think at this point, that's sort of how we moved the situation. It's like, yeah, you don't really have another. Yeah, she doesn't have another shot at this. She is, So the room has been searched. There is nothing outside, no recordings. She looks at the damn computer and goes, "Man, I thought maybe I could avoid trying to get this thing ready to go and started because that's going to make light, which might be seen by the creatures. It's going to take time." She didn't want to do that. So she unscrews the back of this thing, digs in, shocks herself, and then we're going to roll gather information again. She does get a +1. It is wits. She does this time get a strong hit, not by a ton. We discover something helpful and specific. The path we must follow, or action we must take to progress is made clear. So, +2 momentum. I am going to mark progress on the vow. But I do believe, by the way, that that's going to take a third time. That's the right. She's doing the work. She gets the thing up. Right. It does the aliens computer thing where it has to like click every time it moves across like a teletype. Um, and she starts accessing the data, accessing the logs. And probably recording them to her data slate. So they're edging across, ticking across. And give me 1 second. What is the chance? I'm going to say with that failure, it took her some time. I'm going to say that a 1 to 5, she is going to be under the gun, right? The creatures across the hall will have made their way, and they're right. And so there is just that little. I'll tell you what happens. She's sitting there in the silence, watching this thing go, right? The green glow of the computer off of her, the reflective surface of the visor, and you can see the bar go across 89%, 90%. And she's probably, and she sees out of the corner of her eye a little tiny shard of glass come by silently. She looks back, and the glass is like breaking. There's a hole in it from where one of these things has smashed part way through. Can't hear it, but the glass, the little tinkling, like the little shimmering shard of glass tips her off. And so she's up and spins around. Oh my God, she's not gonna be able to fight these guys. There's 10 of them. There's 10 of them. I mean, this could be a very short series, and that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to try Starforged. um, what's she gonna do? What are we doing? There are 10 of these sons of bitches. So what are we doing? So look around. So what's in this room? Obviously the computer. There's the recording equipment. There is a little bit of the lab research equipment, right? They probably were doing blood draws, and they probably have vials of this dude's blood and stuff like that to see if there was a physical malady. Um, but probably at some point this all settled down, and they were just recording and analyzing his vocalizations. But there's still medical equipment here. So he still has the IV drip, and it's mostly intact, though I imagine everything would be sort of floaty since we haven't had gravity. What about maybe there's a tank or two of oxygen? All right, sister grabs the oxygen tank, and she's gonna grab the oxygen tank. She does. I don't. She does. She does not want to sit. I wonder what an oxygen tank is made of. Is it magnetic? An oxygen tank? That smells like it wouldn't be. Hold on. I'm gonna look some shit up. Hold on. Yes, they do make oxygen tanks out of steel. So she's gonna take. She takes this steel oxygen tank. Now these things are bashing at the windows now, so there's cracks and cracks. She turns the computer so she can see it. She is against the opposite wall, sort of hunkered down. She takes the magnetic, she's going to take the magnetic grapple gun, attach it to, right, just chunk this thing onto the big steel tank and shoot it. I mean, I don't know that really matters. Probably doesn't. Nah, probably doesn't matter. She's going to keep the grapple gun down. She's going to. I just want to make sure this thing gets through. I don't know how powerful this magnetic grapple gun is. Like, they're in vacuum, so she has a little gas canister that she uses there to load the thing, and then it shoots out a charge. So it's probably. And this magnetic grapple is probably reasonably heavy, but this tank is full, and so it would be pretty heavy too. Because it's not a little, it's a stationary, like a big, like it's not that your grandpa wheels around because she has COPD or whatever. It's because it's a big old. So I think. So she's just gonna take it and just launch it at that window. When this thing hits, right? So as the bar ticks up to 100, she's gonna pop it, pocket the slate, launch this thing toward the window, and then shoot it, and hope that it gives her then a blows out, right? So she needs to go through-ish the windows. She needs to not be in reach of them. And then she needs it to either kill or incapacitate momentarily the lot of them while not killing her. uh oh, okay, sure. Of course that's gonna work. Okay, so we're at like 90 something percent. They're busting through the windows. Obviously, I think it makes the most narrative sense that the thing hits 100 and they like one of these things starts coming. It's at the window. It is smashed through. It reaches through, rips, starts like almost tearing it itself and the glass, trying to get in. Can't quite get in yet because it's not quite enough. And again, I sort of hate this because in this sense, because this isn't a battle like the other battle. So what we're gonna do is, I tell you what we'll do. So I'm gonna mark a track. In fact, I'm gonna clear this track. This track is good. We're gonna say escape the walking corpses in the med bay, right? And this one's just going to be troublesome, or I don't know. Um so I think what she's gonna do is we're gonna lunge at I mean, she's not really, I'm not exactly certain what to do with this one. I think what she's going to do is she is going to lunge forward, sort of hit this thing with the oxygen tank, try to knock it back a bit, and get that oxygen tank through. And yeah, I think we'll just launch it. We won't, I don't want to get close because there's 10 of them. So I'll give myself the ability to use edge there, maybe, instead of iron. She's never going to succeed in iron. So we're going to use edge as she launches this oxygen tank into these creatures that are coming in through the window. And they're busy getting through the window, so they're not entirely, they're not looking for a projectile oxygen tank to be launched at them. So we're entering the fray, I suppose. On a weak hit, we choose one. I'm going to take the +2 momentum, strangely enough. So I'm going to say that the launch is fine, but that thing is sitting there, right? And then honestly, we are going to um yeah, and there's not a good way to just there's not a good way to do something wacky and different and clever once you start a fight. It just all seems to be about the same. So what I'm picturing is, so I'm struggling a little bit, to be quite honest with you. What I'm picturing is that this canister doesn't push them back through the window. It hits it hits the one. It's sitting sort of at the thing, and they're still grabbing at the glass and smashing the glass. And she's like, "Oh shit, I need to detonate this thing before they just push it back at me." So I think she's gonna duck behind this desk and she's gonna take her shot. And I'm gonna give her the wits. I'm gonna give her a good shot at this because it's as clever as I could be. And as soon as this thing blows up, if she's not killed, if she's not killed, she's gonna have to make a move and she's gonna have to get out of there. Um, so is there enter the fray? So I'm not even doing this as a normal fight exactly. I'm just, I suppose I could though. Um, I could let her, I suppose I could let her react under fire or gain ground. And I think progress on this, yeah, they're going to be troublesome, frankly. So, okay, we'll gain ground. We'll roll it. She's wits. This is the culmination of her plan, quote unquote. She ducks down. She takes a shot at the oxygen. Does it blow up? Does it stun them? Oh, she misses. She could burn momentum, which she's gonna have to burn momentum. On a there you go. So she gets a weak hit. On a weak hit, I'm gonna mark progress, I suppose. So there's just I mean, it is not as impressive as she expects. It blows up. The glass shatters, blowing mostly outward. Maybe one or two of them is dropped. Um, she has to move. Now, the nice thing is she does not have to move directly at them, at the bulk of them. The window to the side has also been cracked, and so she's going to we're gonna we'll use the grapple gun and we're going to blow through that window and go. So we are fleeing. We're gaining ground. We're rolling edge. Weak hit. We're going to mark progress again. The creatures, we'll say that there's 8 of them left, maybe 7. And they've all been knocked around a bit. They've all been knocked about. And so she does momentarily have the upper hand. So she blasts through the side and she's heading back toward this access tunnel, right? So she was here, close to the morgue. She is making her way there. We've got creatures here, of course. And they're in pursuit. But not close behind her. They're not on top of her just as of yet. I think she has the advantage at the moment. I don't know really if there's anything else. Is there anything else she could do? As they come at her that is going to give her any other sort of, anything else? I don't think so. I think it's just going to be edge. She is just going to try to get to that tunnel fast enough. Because I don't know that there's anything else I feel I can do at the moment. And again, a weak hit. So I think she's going to be fine. Because she'll try to conclude that. And she is going to escape. And I'm going to give her one more mark here, not for just for getting the disc. So she escapes into the access tunnel, manages to close the portal. Theoretically, easy going from here back. But is it? Is there one more move kind of thing that she needs to do, right? Does she need to will set a course? Roll supply? See, that doesn't even make sense in this case. That doesn't really even make sense. And 5's almost a terrible. Well, it's plus supply, so it's actually fairly easy. Yeah, I don't like that one in this case. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe instead we look at her vow and we let her roll this vow here, fulfill the vow. Maybe that's the move that indicates if she gets back and when she gets back versus, let's see, fulfill the vow. On a miss, your vow is undone. Yeah, on a weak hit, there's more to be done, or you realize the truth of your quest. Fine. Okay. So let's just say, as she closes that door, she's going to start to head back, and that's going to be the roll to fulfill the vow. And that's going to determine, so let's roll it right now. This is it. This is going to tell us Strong hit with a match. I didn't expect that. I expected a weak hit. I expected because even with 8, really you have 8, 9, 10. You have a 30% chance of missing on either die. So I expected, so it's 70 and 70. It's only 50-50 chance, strangely enough, to get a strong, like strong hit is 50%. Vow is fulfilled. Mark a reward on your quest's legacy track. Troublesome, dangerous, formidable. 1 box. So vows, legacies. She gets to mark 1 box, right? That's a box. So what this means to me is that she has the slate with the logs that she needed to get, and she gets back without too much of a hassle, having cleared this room, having avoided most of the trouble here, having cleared this room, using the access tunnels. She can get back to the elevator, use the grapple probably to get up in short order, and she still remains with 1/4 of her time left. So enough time to escape, pretty much, is sort of what that means. Okay. So we're gonna end here for now. I'm gonna take some time to think about that and maybe do a little retrospective on how that all played out in my head. Again, there's some things, some so that so the thing is, sometimes you just want to make a skill check and just go, okay, did you do the thing or did you not do the thing? And then we can interpret that 2 different ways. And this is a little bit harder to sometimes do that because things aren't as granular as that sometimes. Because it's like, oh, if you gathered information, well, if you fail or you weak hit, there's some dire information. It's like, I don't want dire information. I just want to know if I get this piece of information or if I have to take an inordinate amount of time to get this piece of information or whatever. So I think there's a little bit of that I need to reconcile. I don't think that went poorly. I think it went fine. I think this was a tiny bit anticlimactic at the end. But the power pump fight, unfortunately, was sort of the turning point. Once she survived that, she wasn't going to get into another fight, really, or else she would just be killed. She was either going to win or not after that power pump, that power station fight. So I'm gonna say that she comes back. Ilveni is there waiting for her at the top. They're in suits too, right? And he's like, "Do you have it?" And so she hands it over, and he debriefs her on the situation with the ships incoming, and tells her she still has a couple of hours, and his engineers have made sure her ship is like his maintenance people have made sure her ship is at least ready, so she can leave at any time. And I'm gonna see. I'm gonna think about this, and I'm gonna putz around in my head at different possibilities. Like the sister wanted to see what was going on here, so this is a little bit of a loss for her that she's sort of driven out before she can help them interpret this guy's muttering. She's fascinated by what potentially is happening. And I gotta decide whether she's going to risk staying. I mean, the prudent thing is to leave, but she is, even though she won, she's sort of losing a little bit, if I'm to be honest with you. So And theoretically, if we ticked a box on this legacy track, don't we get 2 XP? I think we get 2 XP, right? But she is missing out because she wants to mark that discovery too. Heck yeah. So that was episode 5. Um, I don't know. I don't know that I'm super happy with sort of how that worked. But I hopefully you are at least were entertained a bit. And like I said, I'm going to think about this a little bit. I'm going to think about what she's going to do. I'm going to think about how that went, and maybe we'll talk about it here in the upcoming couple days. This has been Ironsworn Starforged, and this is the journey of Sister Light. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. This channel is got 20 subscribers. That's all we got. We could use a few more. Thank you very much. I will talk to you later. Good night.